In this video, we're going to explore surface measurements of circles, including perimeter and area, and then do some word problems. So you might be thinking, perimeter of a circle? That sounds weird. Well, yeah, circles are special, and so they have a special name for perimeter, and that is circumference. Circumference is the distance around a circle. The symbol for circumference is a capital C. And for circumference, you can use two different formulas. You can either use C is pi times d. D is the diameter, or all the way across the circle, or C equals 2 times pi times r. R is the radius, and radius is halfway across the circle, or half the diameter, which is why you have the 2 times r. We're going to be using pi equals 3.1416. It's a little more accurate than what you've probably been used to as 3.14. You could also use the pi button instead. So let's try a couple problems out for circumference. Find the circumference of the following: a circle with a radius of 11 feet. So here's our circle. It has a radius of 11 feet. And we're going to use the formula C equals 2 pi r. We're going to plug in the r of 11 feet and multiply 11 times 2, 22, times pi, and I get approximately 69.1152. And this is actually a length, and as a length, we need to get it back into feet and inches. So it's one dimension. So we're going to take the decimal part that's left over. We have 69 whole feet. The leftover 0.1152, we're going to multiply by 12 to get inches. By 12, we get 1 whole. What's left over, we're going to multiply by 16 to get the 16ths, and we get 6/16, which reduces to 3/8. So this right here becomes 69 feet and 1 3/8 inches. Metric's a lot easier. Find the diameter. We have a diameter of 18 centimeters. Find the circumference of a circle with the diameter of 18. So we can just use pi d, and that's really easy. Just pi times diameter. You don't have to do anything else. 56.55 is the approximate circumference of that circle. Okay, let's look at area. So area is the space inside of a circle. And you'll see that if you take that circle and split it into pieces, rearrange those pieces, and make it into a quadrilateral, the base basically is about half the circumference, or pi r. The height is the same as r, so that gives it a formula of the area, which is pi r squared. That's the area of a circle. When you get beyond circumference, you have to use radius. So for area, for volume, you use radius. Area of a circle is pi r squared. And remember, r squared means r times r, or a number times itself. Let's take a minute to stop here for a second and know your calculator. First, you need to know how to square a number, or use the x squared button. So you will find it here, here, and here. Your calculator may be different, so check it out. And some calculators need you to put the number in first and then hit the x squared button, and some calculators need you to put hit the button first and then hit squared. Usually, you put the number in first. For square root, you usually put the number in and then hit the square root button. The square root button on the middle calculator is right there, but for the other two, you have to hit the second button, and then you will see it above the x squared button right there. So you hit the second button, and you'll see it above the x squared. And again, for pi, you can try using the pi button. It's pretty easy, and you will find it here, here, and there. So take a minute right now to get to know your calculator. Try a few things. Try 3 squared, see if you get 9. Try the square root of 16, see if you get 4. Just make sure you know your buttons. Moving on, let's try finding some areas. So find the area of a circle with a radius of 11 feet. So here's our circle, 11 feet. We're going to use the formula of pi r squared for area. Our r was 11, so we're going to take 11 feet and we're going to square it. We're going to get 121 feet squared times pi. I actually just do all this as one whole thing in the calculator, but I wanted to show you what it looked like written out. And so we get approximately 380.13 feet squared. And we can't do anything else because it's squared. You can't split it into feet and inches. Okay, let's look at a circle with a diameter of 18 centimeters. We can't really use diameter except to find the radius. So the radius is half the diameter, or 9. So we have pi times 9 squared. 9 squared is 81 centimeters squared times pi, and so we get 254.47 centimeters squared. These little squiggles mean approximate because pi is approximate. It goes on forever, so we can't get an exact answer. Now we're going to go on and look at some word problems or formula problems for geometry, and we're going to use applications for circles, but you can use this for any type of geometric problems. First, write down the problem and draw the figure out. Then you want to label the parts of the figure that you know. Write the formula down, look it up, find the appropriate formula, and plug in the values that you know. Sometimes you'll just be doing computations, like doing pi times r squared. And sometimes you'll have to do some inverse operations to solve for an unknown. So compute your answer, and then make sure to include the correct units. If you're finding circumference, that's a length, that's one dimension, you're going to get feet, inches, centimeters, meters. If you're finding area, you're going to get something squared. If you're finding volume, you get something cubed. So let's try an application problem. Find the radius of a circle with a given area. So we need to find the radius. The area is 706.86 feet squared. Here is our formula, area equals pi r squared. And so we plug in the a right there, and then we're going to solve. So we want to get r squared by itself. We'll divide both sides by pi. When we do, we end up with 225 feet squared equals r squared. To get r by itself, now you have to take the square root. So you take the square root of 225, and you end up with 15 feet squared equals r. And you could go back in and check, put in 15, square it, times it by pi, see if you get the same answer. Let's try one more problem. What is the area of the ring here? So we have this ring, we want to find out what its area is. First think of what you need to do. So here's our circle. We can split them into two different circles, and we could actually figure out what the radius is of each one. So the bigger circle has a radius of 3 plus 6 or 9 feet, and the smaller one has a radius of 6 feet. And if we could find the two circles and subtract their areas, we could find the radius of the ring. So we'll use our formulas, pi r squared, plug in 9 squared for the big one and 6 squared for the small one, get our two areas, and then we're going to subtract them. And I suggest you don't really round too much until the very end, but subtract the two areas, and you end up with 141.37 feet squared. Okay, before we go, are you confident you can find the circumference and area of this circle? Pause the video and try. Afterwards, press play and see the solution worked out and check your brilliance. To find the circumference and the area, first you need to change that diameter into decimal feet. So we're going to take the 3/4 and we're going to divide it, get 0.75 if you don't already know that. We're going to add it to the 7, so we get 7 3/4 inches. We need that as feet, so we're going to divide it by 12. So we're going to get 17 feet, 7 3/4 inches is 17.64583 repeating, and I usually put about 4 repeater numbers to get enough when it repeats. And this is feet. Now that I have decimal feet, I can use that to find radius, to find circumference, to find area. So I'm going to find circumference here. I'm just going to take that number times pi, and I end up with 55.4360. But again, because it's for circumference, it's a length, I need to go back to feet and inches. So I'm going to take off the 55, that's my feet. Let me take the 0.4360, times it by 12 to get inches. Then I have 0.2322, which I'm going to take and times it by 16 to get my 16ths of an inch. And I end up with 55, 5 and 4/16 inch, which is 55, 4 and 1/4 inch. So that is the circumference. For area, I need to find out what the radius is. So I'm going to go back to what my decimal feet were, and I'm divided by 2. And I end up with a radius of approximately 8.829229 feet. Then I just take that number and square it, times it by pi, and I get an area of 245.55 feet squared. Hopefully this has made some sense to you. If not, come ask me or watch the video again, try them out, and you'll have a little more confidence with finding surface measurements of circles. Good luck.